Single mother and college professor Lakisha Simmons retired early at the age of 41. How did she do it? Her fire story begins in Indianapolis, where Lakisha Simmons was born to teenage parents. Her mother didn't finish high school, and her father left for the Marines. Since her parents were so young, they weren't emotionally mature enough to raise a child, and Lakisha ended up moving around and living with different family members. Because of this, she grew up with a sense of abandonment and clung on to whatever she could, which included money. She recalls being a teenager working at McDonald's, saving every penny, and diligently balancing her checkbook. Lakisha grew up just trying to meet her basic needs, which left her as a truant student with poor grades. However, one day, while walking in her high school, she saw a flyer for a college tour. And during the college tour, Lakisha realized she could flip the script on her life, and she became the first person in her family to attend college, obtain a master's degree, a PhD, and eventually became a tenured professor. By this point, she was living comfortably in a 5-bedroom house with her husband and 2 kids. On the surface, it appeared that she had made it. However, she would face her next financial setback. It was New Year's Eve of 2016 when, after 11 years of marriage, she and her husband would get a divorce. Lakisha reports the divorce was the catalyst for her financial independence journey, because sitting alone in the big, empty 5-bedroom house on New Year's Day, feelings of being the little, insecure girl shuffled amongst different family members were triggered. She felt a sense of financial insecurity, realizing now that she would have to pay the huge mortgage on her own and take care of all the bills. But like the teenager balancing her checkbook, she opened up an Excel spreadsheet and started scrutinizing every expense to take control of her financial future. By this point, she was a 37-year-old professor. She had averaged $77,000 during her career. She had $125,000 in her retirement accounts. She had $5,000 in liquid savings, but she still felt like she was living paycheck to paycheck. She realized her house was her biggest expense because she had a $2,400 per month mortgage, and in addition, she was paying hundreds of dollars every month in utilities and maintenance. So she sold her house and moved into a 1,000 square foot apartment, which ended up saving her over $12,000 every year. And in addition, she profited over $30,000. With the profits of her house sale, she initially was going to have a financial advisor invest the money for her. However, as fate would have it, because she sold the house on a Friday, she had the entire weekend to do some research on how to invest the money. She learned about the FIRE movement and discovered the blogs of Mr. Money Mustache and Millennial Revolution. Empowered by her knowledge, by the following Monday, she fired her financial advisor and she set a goal to accumulate $850,000, which would allow her to retire comfortably. So by spending less, earning more, and investing the difference, she was able to reach this goal in the next 4 years. How did she do it? And as a single mother of 2, Lakisha knew that she would have to cut expenses, but she did it without sacrificing what was important to her and her family. Thinking back on her own childhood, she recalls the happiest times were the backyard family barbecues, and not things like fancy houses, expensive cars, or extravagant gifts. Therefore, it became easy for her to cut out things like the expensive cell phone plan, to shop at discount grocery stores, to buy clothes from the Goodwill, and to cut her own boy's hair. As a tenured professor, she was making close to 6 figures annually, but Lakisha was also accomplished in the art of the side hustle. You see, she leveraged her skills as a teacher and found ways to teach extra classes in the summer, netting her an extra $7,000 per year. In addition, she organized workshops to empower women by teaching them soft skills such as negotiating a raise at work, conflict resolution, and mastering body language. You see, she would charge up to $150 per person per half day, and better yet, she turned these skills into a workbook called The Unlikely Achiever, earning her an extra $500 to $3,000 per month in royalties. By this point, she was living on only $36,000 per year, and she was eventually able to save 60% of her income. She invested most of it into index funds, which were achieving 30% returns towards the end of her 4 years. And during her working years, she was maxing out her 403b and 457b. In January of 2022, her portfolio was mostly in an IRA, then a brokerage account, a Roth IRA, and a 457b. And even though the market returns have decreased in 2022, she's not so worried about the volatility because she still has relatively passive income from her book sales, speaking engagements, and coaching. So, from the combination of low expenses, large investment accounts, and multiple streams of income, she has been able to retire from the stresses of being a college professor by the age of 41. From humble beginnings working at McDonald's to becoming an accomplished tenured professor, Lakisha Simmons was able to retire in 2021 after accumulating $900,000, and along the way, she also found new love and has a new blended family of 5. She now has the freedom to pursue her passions of teaching and empowering women, traveling and exploring with her family, or to just stay home and cook a meal with her kids. Lakisha Simmons came from a childhood where she had to endure emotional insecurity, and despite becoming a successful professor, she hit financial rock bottom after a divorce. But she made a series of savvy financial decisions over 4 years that would allow her to become financially free and to live the life she wanted. And this has been the inspiring story of Lakisha Simmons. So if you like this video, check out these other videos I made about remarkably ordinary people who achieved financial independence and retired early. And this has been the Tin Man at TinManFIRE, and we'll see you next time.